Sports for Real with Coach Hall. For months, I followed the battle between PGA and Live Golf. These guys are pretty much battling over players. What it is that Live Golf, which actually stands for 54, a Saudi Arabian-backed company, they started getting players because they started paying them a high rate of money that the PGA typically wouldn't pay these guys. So the PGA came back and said, no, these guys are not available. So the players turned around and sued the PGA, saying that this is an antitrust violation. So what ended up happening was these guys kept going back and forth. The PGA led by Jay Monahan, and Live is led by Greg Norman, the Shark, and they've been going back and forth about which players are available to play in which tournament. Well, after all this infighting, they decided to merge. Now, the details of how the tournaments are going to look moving forward, they're kind of gray right now. But the point is that there's going to be a lot more money floating around. And while this may not be important to some who don't have an interest in golf, this has great interest in other sports. You know, you take a sport like baseball, where they don't have the revenue sharing like they have in NFL, they're struggling. You know, teams like Tampa and Oakland, who's to say that these Saudi people won't come in and start throwing money around to the Major League Baseball players and eventually sliding in the same way they did with the golf? So you could have a Saudi-backed Major League operation. But if you think this is something new, it's not. In America, back in the 60s, the NFL was the entrenched league. Well, the AFL, the upstarts, they came in 1960 forming their own league. And what they started doing, they started conducting drafts the same way the NFL did, and they started offering the draft picks higher money than they would have received in the NFL. So it was not uncommon for a top player to be drafted by both the NFL and the AFL. Well, after years of fighting, they ended up merging too. You know, there's the NFL-AFL merger coming all into the NFL beginning with the 1970 season. So the likelihood of it happening again in the NFL is very, very remote. These guys are established. They've already been through this kind of thing, and it's unlikely to happen again. But basketball, with the way the salaries are going up now and the way greed has just infiltrated that sport, don't be surprised if the Saudis try to slide in the same way they've done with golf. So baseball, basketball, be on alert just like the PGA was. Now, I talked the other day about NFL players or professional athletes dying early. Well, unfortunately, right on cue, another athlete has met an untimely end. Clark Higgins, the linebacker with the Steelers, who was on the last Steeler team when they played against Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I think that was Super Bowl 40. He has died. Again, all these untimely deaths, all these people who are living into their 50s with these ailments that are seemingly unjustified, they have to have some direct tie-in to professional sports. So as time goes on and until research clearly points out that this is what's happening, expect more and more players to either start getting CTE, coming up with ailments that aren't, you can't really pinpoint, and there are going to be some more deaths coming forward. So hopefully, like I say, we talk about Dion. Hopefully Dion can be able to get over that circulation problem he has, and you just have to wonder that this just could be tied to time in professional sports. Sports for real.